Bitcoin alert, we've seen many of our downside targets hit over these past few weeks. In fact, over the past month and a half to 2 months now, as we do continue to work our way downwards and onwards. However, there are several things that are coalescing in the background that do suggest Bitcoin is likely to attempt yet another bounce. Now, when I say another bounce, I do not mean a reversal to new all-time highs. Holy shit, it's going to the upside and never going below $0 ever again, or whatever it is, whatever people say on YouTube. But I do think that there is very likely a bounce emerging from this number because we have hit a lot of our major targets, and we've also hit a lot of technical areas as well. So let's start this one off, and I do want to acknowledge that I just spent 10 minutes recording a video, and then my microphone broke at the very, very end, and I couldn't finish the video. Very annoying indeed. Anyways, let's go over to some daily price action statistics using the historical price action statistic indicator, which we can see Tuesday is more or less a coin flip's probability on whether it's likely to close positively or negatively since this bull market began in 2023. However, we are, as always, most interested in the average gains and the average losses for positive and negative closing Tuesdays. And on the on the losing side, Bitcoin typically loses an average of 1.78%, which would be a price point of 90,550. And we can already see a pretty nice bounce actually off that number, more than close to $3,000 now. As Bitcoin wicks off of it, very, very beautiful, very, very nice, very, very sophisticated, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, on the other side, I do want to acknowledge that the average gain for a positive closing Tuesday is about 2%. And 2% would be a price point of just over $94,000. So I actually do think there's a good chance we're going to see that number hit today. So if you do see Bitcoin wick up to that number, I would be expecting a pullback on the first pass. Again, for the bottomites out there in this world, it's only the first pass. The first pass, very, very, very high probability for a scalpable move. Second pass, yes, it does happen sometimes, but not every time. So it's much lower probability. So if you do see Bitcoin wick up there, I would be looking for a pullback on the first pass. Second pass, that's a different thing. Good luck with that. Anyways, if you are looking at this as a scalpable, or if you are looking for a scalpable tool, this is among my favorites alongside the price action pivots indicator. Both kind of work in a similar fashion, gives you areas of interest. And then, on that first pass, you're generally going to get a scalpable pullback. It's going to be a very, very light move. These are scalps. These are not hold them forever type trades or anything like this. Not that really any trade is, but generally at least a few $100, and in this case a few $1,000 actually. So a little bit more of a home run right there. Although I would not try to convince anyone that that's a normal result. $3,000 bounce from one of those. No, that's definitely an outlier. Anyway, let's move on from there. Let's go over some of the major targets that we were looking for over the past few weeks, as well as all the ones that have been hit, and then all of the new ones that are likely emerging. So if you recall from yesterday, we were looking at the 8-day time frame for CME here, and we were looking at the interplay between the red and the yellow moving average. That's a 4 and a 21 EMA. And we've seen this happen many times. Whenever they cross the downside, meaning the lower period crosses below the higher period, we generally see a move down to the green moving average at least. So if we go over to the 8-day time frame here, we've seen it actually only a few times in CME's history, and on spot price action, we've seen it a lot more. Of course, for the other time frames, so we looked at the 12-hour, the daily, the 2-day, the 3-day, and the 5-day for both spot and CME. All of those have already been hit. It's kind of the last one that is relevant as of right now. And just making sure that my microphone's still working. I have PTSD because it really pisses me off whenever I record a video and then something goes wrong near the end. Oh man, it pisses me off. God damn, you want to see some autistic rage? Just have one of my electronics not work. Anyways, in this case, this one's probably going to be confirmed on the next closure, which is in 2 days. So that is going to be one. That is going to be Thursday's closure. And that actually would imply that after that gets confirmed, we're probably going to see one more try at the green moving average again. It just doesn't mean that we're going to break through it, but one more try at it, and then perhaps a bounce emerges. So maybe Bitcoin hangs around at this, at this level, or maybe it, goes sideways and then puts in a quick wick to the downside once that happens, and then tries its bounce. So we're probably looking very late this week when a real bounce emerges. But also on that note, several other things have been hit here. If we go over to CME, as we pointed out yesterday, some of the reasons that we were looking for a big bounce off this region was because the CME gap from the 21st of April has been hit. And also Bitcoin has reached a major moving average here, the blue 377 EMA that my cursor is currently on. It just doesn't happen that often. And whenever you see something like that, you're at least going to get some sort of interplay with price, almost always. So in this case, we are at a good crossroad for a bit of a bounce attempt, after maybe some short-term sideways, but I wouldn't necessarily be looking for significantly new lows anytime soon. before Bitcoin plays out a bit of a bounce. Now, also on that note, I do want to acknowledge that over here, actually, we can see that daily stochastic momentum is already starting to turn up, and it will turn up officially upon today's closure for the first time in a while. If Bitcoin can finish the day above 92,150, seems quite likely right now. And also, I just want to acknowledge that volatilities now start. I mean, first it got up to extreme levels, so that is a good indication that we're probably past the heat of the move or the heart of the move. And now that it's contracting, we actually do have the potential for an HPDR setup, which we'll go over in just a bit here. But before that, I also want to talk about. Actually, no, let's go into the HPDR. So yeah, as I just discussed, the daily BBWP is now going into a contraction phase. We do see a negative slope. It's actually even below the moving average here as well. So, is Bitcoin going to make any significantly new lows without bouncing first? I think it's very unlikely. And of course, whenever we're looking for a bounce based off of this, because this is like your quintessential perfect HPDR setup in a way where price trades very far away from the median, getting into these crazier numbers right here. Right now, it's between the 77.6 level and the 88.9 level. And now that we're seeing volatility contract, really don't expect any major closures below these numbers. Might be a few more tests down around there. That's fine, but I'd generally be looking for a bounce to at least the median. Now, that doesn't mean today. That probably will take a week or two to happen. I don't know. It might take a while. We've seen it before. It can take its time. We saw it over here. It definitely happened. It just, took 3, 4, 5 days. Anyways, in this case, while the median is all the way at 104,000 US dollars, it is going to naturally come down significantly, most likely, with each and every passing daily closure. So it really does matter when you start to see this one rally up, because if and when it does test that median, that is when that condition is fulfilled. I would personally anticipate, and I might be real fucking wrong about this, but I would personally anticipate it to bounce up at least to like 97.5, maybe even 99,000 bucks. I think the median will kind of get somewhere down around there. And yeah, it is possible. It does reverse and go back to prior ultimas. I mean, it's possible. I just think it's less likely. Again, I still think that this market is downside bias, and if you think that the market cycle is over and the highs were in for a few years, then I think that that's a valid opinion. I'm not really analyzing things like that myself. I want to take this market one leg at a time, not get into like this up only or down only type bullshit. But if you hold that opinion, I think that's, I don't think it's invalid, in this particular instance. Anyways, moving on from there, also, as far as targeted regions to the upside, we do see that there is 12-hour regular bullish divergence here on spot price action. It's also available on CME as well. But in this case, you got a couple of drives there. And my general easy target for this is going to be the yellow moving average. And that is currently hanging out around about 98,000 bucks. Again, each and every passing closure, it's going to adjust a little bit downwards. So, maybe it comes closer to like 96,000 bucks by the time Bitcoin gets there. Again, we won't know until Bitcoin actually does bounce. But when it gets there, that's kind of where I'd say, hey, this is your high probability target for the bounce. Maybe expect a short-term pullback. And, if there's more on the bounce, great. If there's not, then I wouldn't get too greedy with playing a bounce, just personally. Again, I'm not your fucking dad, so you can do what the hell you want to do, but that's just what I would be thinking in these sort of situations. Other than that, what other sort of areas of interest can we get for a target here? If I draw a Fibonacci retrace, I almost said Fibonacci retard, which is kind of funny, but also not very accurate. If I draw a Fibonacci retracement, then we can see from the past high, which was at 107.5, the 38.2 level is coming in at 96,200. So, guesstimating here, I'm going to guess it's going to bounce at least there, and probably even the 50% retracement level, which is 98, almost 400. Again, we'll see how this one evolves when it does start to occur. But for right now, that's kind of what I'm thinking, at least like as a minimum. And again, this is going to take probably like a week or maybe even 2 weeks. So don't be expecting this to happen like today. Okay. It's highly unlikely to happen today or anything like that. These things take time naturally. Bitcoin's been basically going straight down for the past 4 weeks. 1, 2, 3. I mean, it is 4 weeks now, but really it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks without any real bounces, except for this one right here, I guess. So yeah, maybe I take that statement back. But ultimately, I do want to shut this video off now because Bitcoin is real close, like really, really close to that $94,000 number. So hopefully I can get this video up before then, and maybe there might be some action taken around there. Anyways, all of these tools can be found in the link description below. Pretty much all of them. In fact, all the ones that we spoke about today do have a 7-day free trial included as well. Even our prized possession, the Quant Prime service, which is what we're using over here to backtest these setups. So you don't just have to backtest them. You can also automate these trade setups as well. Again, this particular setup that I'm looking at is not a good trade setup, although, if you want to put it on, you can do it. It's great for directional analysis and bias on YouTube. But yeah, we have a whole quant library and everything. Give you all the stats upon your strategies, and super handy, especially for more advanced people. But if you're more new, I would not suggest it. Maybe something like the quantum wave band is going to be better in that case, as it's more of like a done for you strategy. But anyways, I'm off the shill horse right now. I'll be signing off on that note. Still in the midst of setting up here as we go into our new home. So yeah, it's probably going to take, I don't know, about a week to get set up, honestly, before we can get back to the live streams. But I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully everyone is having a nice little Tuesday morning. I'll be signing off on that note. As always, take care, much love, and see you hopefully Wednesday.